Great. All right, guys, welcome to the NRA, the Warrior Marketing Group's program. Tonight's episode, so to speak, is designed to make sure that you pass the NRA instructor shooting portion of this program with flying colors, okay? It is the most difficult part of the NRA certification program. It will test your skills, and you need some basics in order to get that through. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually look at our training program pre-course qualification. Now, can everybody see this on their screen okay?
Yes.
Okay. So this is your pre-course qualification. When you register for the NRA certified instructor program later on this week, this is the document you're going to be receiving. You need to print it out, and it should be by you. It's your Bible for using your firearm, loading and unloading, all the physical hands-on drills that we're going to go over tonight so that you can pass the program. What you're going to notice first and foremost is that you will see that there is a pass and fail on this, okay? Passing score is 100 points, minimum passing score is 80 points, and you must have a minimum in each phase. Of course, any unsafe gun handling whatsoever, whether your finger's on the trigger, the gun's pointing in the wrong direction, is an automatic disqualification for that particular exercise. So you guys need to watch yourself while you practice over the next few days and in the upcoming weeks to make sure that you are getting that covered, okay? So very first thing, loading and unloading. Now, I do happen to have a Kahr Arms firearm with me. We're just going to verify that that's clear. Any rounds in there, you guys?
No.
All right. Any rounds in here?
No.
All right. What we are going to use to be doing our demonstration are, of course, snap caps. Nope. Looks like it's just the three of us. All right. So basically what we're going to use, we're going to use 2 snap caps. Can you guys verify that those are snap caps, not live ammunition?
Yep.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the snap caps just as normal. We're going to put them down and back. Down and back. Now, what the NRA requires you to do is keep your finger off the trigger, the gun pointed in a safe direction, take your magazine. You're not using your slide stop. You are reaching over. You're pulling backwards. You are releasing completely, letting it go forward. Then you need to get into your proper grip. Okay, now it's going to be hard for me to do the proper grip. My son's in the room as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand up here, right hand, left hand, down. That's going to be your grip. Okay. What you're going to note is that the top of my left hand finger is underneath the trigger guard, touching the bottom of the trigger guard. You're also going to note that my thumbs are not over my thumbs, and most certainly my thumb is not back here. You know, you can't really see it on the screen here. Obviously, you know, we're advanced shooters, but you know, this is, you know, the fundamental preparation that we want to show. Now, to unload, we're going to follow that procedure the same way backwards. What we're going to do first, we're going to remove the magazine. We're going to push up on the slide stop, rack the slide back, visually inspect the chamber. I have to see your eyes go into that chamber to make sure that it's unloaded. Then you're going to set it on the table on the left-hand side. And why do we set a gun on the table on the left-hand side?
It's where the safety is, well, sometimes.
So this is an interesting point. I'm going to pretend that this, okay, I'm going to turn this around again. My son's right over there, so I don't want to point it that way. All right. So I'm going to pretend that my hand here is the table. Why do we want the gun laying this way as opposed to the gun laying this way? What can you see on this side that you can't see on the other side?
Where where the shell comes out.
Exactly. So as the gun is on the table, okay, it's laying on the table. My hand is the table. My back hand is the table. As you walk by the table, you can clearly see inside that chamber without touching the gun. Whereas if it was on this side, laying down like that, you have to pick up the gun and look in the chamber. So we don't have to touch the gun in order to see it when it's on the left-hand side. Now, I'm going to play a video for you guys, okay? And I want you to tell me what this instructor candidate did wrong.
His grip.
All right. Do you want to see it one more time, or do you want to guess?
Wrong side on the table.
That's number 2. And number one, Scott, was definitely the grip for sure. Because if you see his grip, okay, first of all, you don't see those fingers lined up to the bottom of the trigger guard, right? Guaranteed on the other side, his thumbs are crossed over, right? And then obviously when he sets it down, let's see where he sets it down here. When he sets it down, it's on the right-hand side. So you cannot clearly see in that chamber to make sure that it's unloaded. Now, pay note to a revolver. The revolver's laying on the opposite side with the cylinder open so that you can clearly see that it's unloaded, all right? One other thing that I didn't like about what John's doing, I don't care that the gun is sideways like that as long as it's pointed exactly straight. But if you take note of that ISIS flag right here, you guys see that? That's an ISIS flag. The reason we have the ISIS flag in the room is because we practice a safety procedure called the 1/4 inch safe direction. What that means is on the wall, that's a 1/4 inch square target that you're always aiming your gun at. And it feels really good to aim your gun at an ISIS target, right? And so what we do is we keep that gun. We imagine a laser coming out of the muzzle. We don't want that laser going out of that 1/4 inch at any time. And you'll see here, John actually goes out of that 1/4 inch right incoming. Let's see where it is. Right there. See how his gun is pointed at a downward angle? That would actually be something that I would give a point on because we want that gun level and straight. So level and straight that if a round went off at the range accidentally, it's going to go through the bullseye of your target. That's how strict we are, okay? And the other thing, again, is his grip here. His finger here is right, but this finger needs to be tucked under, okay? Now, that's a good example of automatics. What are your questions so far?
None.
Great. All right, next thing we're going to go over is loading and unloading a revolver. Now, the NRA has a very, very odd way of doing this. So I'm actually going to shut my screen share off, okay? And I'm back to video. My revolver here. Would you guys verify that this is clear for me?
Yep.
Okay. And also, would you verify that this is a snap cap, not a live round?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. So the NRA requires a very odd Christopher, I need to point that way, son. Son, I need to point that way. So what I'm going to have you do is if you can just move that way for a minute, okay?
How old's Christopher?
Christopher 6.
All
And he can outshoot most adults with a handgun.
right. There we go.
So what the NRA requires, and I'll go from this angle right here, okay? What we do is we actually take, it's very, very weird. When we pick up the revolver, it's with our left hand like this. Oops, I'm going to have to go this way just to get you to see it. So what you're going to note is I've got actually 2 fingers over the cylinder through the revolver. I've got my pinky on the hammer and my other finger on the front of the revolver. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my snap cap. I'm going to insert it in. From there, I'm going to roll with my thumb to close it up, wiggle it to lock it in place. From there to unload it, it's the opposite effect. We're pushing our fingers through. We're using our thumb. See, I'm using my thumb right here. Okay, I'm using my thumb, pointing the revolver up and using that ejector rod. See that ejector rod going? Okay. Now, I hate that method. I absolutely hate it because you can't possibly stay in the 1/4 inch safe direction, which is something that I have adapted for my programs. However, we do need to do it the NRA's way because it's the NRA's that we're certifying, right? How you teach it in your class is going to be up to you unless you're giving an NRA certified class. But if you are giving an NRA certified class, you've got to do it that way. If you're giving your own class, you can do it the way that I train you.
But you still keep the gun pointed down range at the, I mean, you still have to follow.
So imagine in front of me is down range. While I've got my fingers through, I'm basically just lifting it up, just lifting it up enough to get the rounds out. And I'm using that ejector rod to eject the rounds out. Okay. That's the big thing though. They want your thumb on that ejector rod. They want your fingers through the revolver. They want your pinky on the hammer and your first finger up here on the barrel.
So do they want you to tilt the gun pointed upwards?
Yes.
Because pushing the rod is going to eject the round.
Yes. And that's what I hate. So what I teach my students is they've got their hand like this and they just keep it level, keep it straight. They point it exactly at that ISIS, that 1/4 inch, square target, and they just pull back straight like that. And the rounds eject and they fall on the floor. And if it falls, they let it fall. But the NRA wants it their way for this particular program. How you teach it in your class, as long as it's not an NRA certified class, you're good to go. But since it's NRA certified, we got to follow their means.
Okay.
Now, what are your questions so far?
None.
That's fine.
Great. Christopher, you can go back, son. All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to be dealing with common pistol stoppages now, okay? A common pistol stoppage is like a double feed, okay, and a regular jam. Now, once again, because I put the gun down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you verify, is there a round in that chamber?
No.
Okay, and are these snap caps?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a simple drill that the gun does not fire, and what to do from there. Okay, so for this, I'm going to add my 2 snap caps, down and back, down and back. Of course, you guys know that already. Okay, my finger's off the trigger, my gun. Imagine that the range is this way. My 1/4 inch safe direction is this way. I'm going to take my magazine with my 2 snap caps. Magazine's in. Now, and get that slide forward. And again, the NRA doesn't, for an NRA certified class, no slide stop. That's only to stop the slide, not to release. Okay, we're going to reach behind. We're going to rack it, let it go, let it bang. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to simulate that we're at the range and we're actually shooting. Okay, so I squeeze the trigger. The gun doesn't go off. The proper procedure from here is to take your finger off the trigger. Wait 30 seconds. Okay, so 28, 29, 30. Then tack, rack, reset. Okay, again, here it is. You've got your gun loaded. You squeeze the trigger. Nothing happens. Finger off the trigger. Wait 30 seconds. 28, 29, 30. Tap, rack, and reset. Okay, now it was the second round, so it's, it's not gonna slide forward. All right. What are your questions on that?
None.
All right. Next, we're going to be clearing a double feed. Now, this is going to throw you for a loop a little bit, okay? So does anybody know how to set up a double feed in a gun?
No.
No.
All right. And do we know what a double feed stoppage is?
No. I just a bullet backed up in the chamber.
Yes.
Right.
So you've got a round.
Kind of pushing against
Exactly. You've got a round in the chamber. So in this case, we're going to put a snap cap in there. It's really hard to do it on video. So there we go. All right. We've got a snap cap in the chamber now. Then we have our magazine. Pop that right in. From there, we put the magazine in with the snap cap in the magazine and the snap cap in the chamber, and we pull the slide stop down. Now what's happening is the slide is coming forward, and the slide is attempting to put another round into the chamber. So you see we've got the snap cap in there already, and you can see that we've got this other round that's trying to make it into the chamber, so it's a stoppage. Now, what would you do to clear this gun?
I'd pop the clip out first.
Yeah.
Take the clip out.
And then inject the round that's in the chamber.
So that's what most people do, actually. What most people are going to do is they're going to lock the slide back and then take the magazine out and then get that out of the chamber. What we want you to do is simply pull down on the magazine just a little bit. Watch what happens to the slide. See that? We just cleared that stoppage. Now, we put that magazine right back in. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So when you get that round at the top of the magazine out, it automatically is going to free up that pressure that's going on. So again, my snap cap in the chamber to set it up, my magazine into the gun to set it up. Then I do, I can rack it. All right. Now there's my double feed. So I call double feed. From there to clear it. And again, your fingers on the trigger, you're holding it properly. You're keeping it in the 1/4 inch. All we're going to do is we're just going to pull down on the magazine just a little bit. That's it. Clears it up, pushes that right back in. Okay. Now, let's say that round that was stuck in the chamber actually went off, and it's actually a failure to eject. Squeeze the trigger, nothing happens. What do you do?
Eject the bullet.
Remember the previous lesson. Any sort of failure to fire, you wait 30 seconds, tap, rack, reset, right? So these are the things that we're going to be going over in the program. But and I'm going to send you a copy of this video so you guys can practice this at home as well.
Okay.
Right. So what are your questions about double feed?
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So the firearms that we're using for these methods are you going to send us the models?
I just have generic guns. I've got a Glock, I've got a Smith & Wesson, but we need to be able to, as instructors, we need to be able to do it on any gun. Now, as instructor candidates, this is an interesting point, you are allowed to have your firearm open carry, empty during the class. Okay, so if you want to have your gun on your hip, open carry, empty during the class, you're welcome to do that. Okay, but there will not be any live ammunition in the classroom. All right, so carrying on.
So are we going to do these on our own firearms or on yours?
Whichever you prefer.
Got it.
Yep. All right, carrying on here. I'm going to share my screen again. We're going to go to the next element. All right, failure to fire, double feed. Any questions on either of those?
No.
All right, here's the shooting portion. This is the portion that is difficult. So I'm going to pull up the target. This is the actual target that you will be shooting at. I'm sure it will load. There it is. Okay. This is an 8.5 by 11 inch piece of paper. We print it out on the printer. Okay. The outside circumference is about 9 inches. The idea of this target is that if you get around here and here, that won't qualify. From 45 feet, you need to hit 16 out of 20 shots within a 6-inch grouping. I suggest you use my gun. Okay. The reason I suggest you use my gun is because if you use your gun, you probably won't pass this course. Now, if you want to use your own gun for warm-up, that's fine. If you want to try your gun pre-qual, that's fine. But when it comes to like your last chance, you should probably use my gun. And if you follow the 5 fundamentals of pistol shooting, which I'm about to talk to you guys about in a second, you will make this shot. Okay. Hands down, you will make it if you follow the techniques I'm about to lay out. That said, does anybody know the best way to understand if your grouping are within 6 inches?
Just a 3-point group is all I know. You know, I was shooting 3 inches yesterday.
Good. Well, what you're going to do at the range is you're going to set your target up 45 feet away. You're going to shoot your target 16 out of 20 rounds. You have 2 choices. You can either shoot 4 series of 5 rounds or 2 series of 10 rounds. Okay. I personally choose 4 rounds of 5 shots because I get bored. Okay. So I'm shooting and I'm like, oh my gosh, when is this going to be over? So that break in between the 5-round sequences allows me to shake my hands out, breathe normally again, rest up a little bit, and get me back in the game. Now, you bring your target back. You take a look at your rounds. You take a $1 bill. You put it up against that piece of paper, and you run that $1 bill in a circle. And any rounds that are inside that $1 bill count. Any rounds on the outside of that $1 bill don't count. Okay? So that's what you're going to be practicing at the range.
And we have to get 16 out of 20.
16 out of 20. Yep. It's a tough
What kind of gun? Well, no, I'm not saying that it isn't, but what is your gun?
You'll see it in one of the videos I'll show.
All right. Okay.
All right. So
I need to buy that gun.
oh, it's a really, really great gun. So I'm going to pull up Microsoft Word here just so we can write down some things together. Okay. So first thing I want to show you is the 5 fundamentals of pistol shooting. It's in alphabetical order for the most part. Aiming, breath control, hold control, trigger control, and follow through. Now, you don't have to have these memorized right now, but you have to have the principles down. Aiming. We know how to aim. When we're holding the gun, what are we focusing on? What are we focusing our eyes on?
Sights.
Which one?
Front.
Front sight. Always focus your eyes on that front sight. So your target's going to be blurry and your rear sight is going to be blurry. Now, breath control is very simple. It's not hold your breath, let all your breath out. It's neither of those. It's pause your breathing for the shot. Just pause your breathing while you're putting pressure on that trigger, wherever you're at. If you're halfway at a breath point, 3/4 of the way, all the way out, just pause. Hold control. What you're doing with your right hand is you're pushing forward. What you're doing with your left hand is pulling backwards. Push, pull, okay? Trigger control. This is the most important element of shooting. Okay, well, there are 2 of the most important. Aiming and trigger control are the 2 most important. Follow through is the 3rd. All right, now, once again, before I screw out on this gun, we're going to verify that it is on what? How did I do that earlier? Can you guys see that?
It's empty.
All right. Yeah. All right. And putting my snap cap in. Can you guys verify that that's a snap cap?
Yes.
All right, snap cap's in. I just like to do the snap cap. You know, I just it's my personal pet peeve. I don't like dry firing a gun without a snap cap in there, right? All right. So, proper trigger control is when you are squeezing that trigger, okay? In fact, I'm going to make this big. When you are holding that trigger, what everybody does when they're shooting is this. Everybody. So, nobody can shoot accurately. All right? They pull the trigger like that, and the gun's moving all around and they miss the target, but all of that movement is hidden in the recoil, right? So you don't actually see that flinching because the gun goes off. In every scenario, trigger control is this: slow, even pressure all the way back. Did you see that? I'll do it again. So instead of ganking on it, oops, didn't pull it back far enough. Instead of ganking on it, what we're doing and what you need to practice is slow, even pressure all the way back. See how long it took me to pull that trigger? I increased my pressure slowly all the way back. Now, follow through is the third most important, okay? Follow through is maintaining your 5 fundamentals of pistol shooting before, during, and after the shot. What that looks like is this. People get in there and they gank and then they reset. And then they gank and they reset. I mean, we preach to people, keep your finger off the trigger, right? In this case, when you are practicing proper follow through, you're keeping your finger on the trigger, okay? Let me show you what that looks like. I'm squeezing that trigger slowly all the way back. I'm holding. I am intentionally deciding when I'm going to release pressure so that I can reset. But never does my finger come off of that trigger. Why do we want our finger to be on the trigger the entire time?
To place your next round.
Well, yeah, sort of. To maintain consistency. Again, follow-up is maintaining consistency before, during, and after the shot is placed. So we're going to go through some videos and discuss what is happening. So I'm going to share my screen again. When I play the video, does it come through okay?
Yeah.
Good. Does the sound come through?
Yeah.
Good. I want you to take note and think what this guy's doing wrong. Now, make notes. Don't say it during the presentation. All right, what do you guys got?
Well, one he didn't keep the trigger kept pulled back, you know, he just releases right away.
And if you notice, when he releases, his fingers like flying all over the place.
Right.
He doesn't commit to the trigger and he yanks the trigger.
He's yanking that trigger. He is not exercising proper trigger pull. Proper trigger pull is what?
Slow and steady.
Slow and even. And the way,
Out of stance a couple times.
yes, yeah, that's exactly right. So Carlos, when he takes his shot, watch what he does with his arms. Just about every shot. He drops it. He moves his legs around. This is absolutely the picture perfect example of poor follow through. Okay. And that's why he did not qualify on this particular round. And he did not qualify this weekend. He had to come back. Okay. Is because his follow through is terrible. And I'll just go through and point out all the points. First of all, note his thumbs. His left thumb is not on the gun. Second, he's moving back and forth. He's not bringing his finger to the trigger. When his finger is on the trigger at this point, the pad of the trigger on a single action needs to be what he's using. He's using the joint, which is what you're supposed to use on a double action, okay? Second, after each round, he's moving his arms. He's bringing his arms down. He's got his thumbs moving. Absolutely no follow through whatsoever. Now, let's go and look at somebody else. This is the gun that you will be shooting, by the way, so pay attention. What do you think?
Pulling her finger off.
Which means she's not doing what?
Slow and even.
Slow. Well, she's not doing slow and even for sure, but she's also not doing her follow through because her finger is coming off the whole time. What else does she got going on over there?
Her thumbs.
Yeah.
Yes. She does not have a proper grip on that firearm. So the proper grip on that firearm is going to be what, guys?
Well, she's left-handed, so it's a little bit.
That's fine. Everything applies. Everything applies. So the first finger on the right hand needs to be underneath the trigger.
Under the trigger guard, yeah.
The whole hand needs to be forward and up a little bit more. Yep. Yep. All right. Let's show you another one here. This is a really good example. Just before we, I want to preface this video before we look at it, and I want to explain. This guy is an excellent shooter. He is one of the best instructor candidates who have ever gone through my class. I think that he's a hero. Great shot, great shooter, a lot of experience. Now, he could not hit the paper at 45 feet. He couldn't even hit it, okay? So he actually came up a day early to class so that we could practice at the range and get it going. What you're going to see is that I make his gun jam, okay? I make his gun jam. He doesn't know that's coming. That's the disclaimer. Okay, that's where I made his gun jam.
He didn't wait 30 seconds.
He didn't, but he did tap rack. But I also knew it as a snap cap. But watch this shot. See that? What's going on there?
Misfire.
Well, it is misfiring, but I made his gun do that. I wanted his gun not to fire, but I wanted his mind to think that it was going to. So I hit a snap cap in there. So I loaded his magazine. I started with one snap cap. I put 2 live rounds on top of it. So he fires the live round, then it jams up. He clears the jam. Now he's got a snap cap in the chamber. Now, the reason that I trick his mind and I make his body think that the gun is going to go off is for something called anticipation. Okay. What anticipation is exactly what you see. When your body believes that that gun's going to go off, your entire body tenses. Okay. So his trigger pull was fine, but when he felt that click, his body tensed, and that's why he was not making the shots. Okay. Very, very, very important lesson. And I could not have taught him that had I not captured it on video and had I not made his brain think that the gun was going to go off so his body would react to it. Okay.
Yeah, because he's pushing down at the very end.
At the very end, yeah. And at that angle, all the way down, there's no chance he's going to hit that target. That's a really, really good lesson. And after I did that twice to him, he was able to hit the target all day. All right, here we go. This is just an example. Tap, rack, and shoot. And this is live ammunition with an instructor candidate on the range.
You're going to pick up your gun and get ready to fire. You're going to go ahead and put your slide down with nothing in the chamber. You're going to put your magazine in with 1 ready.
So take note, there's nothing in the chamber.
Nothing happens, so you're going to tap, rack, or you shoot.
Now, what did she miss?
30 seconds.
That's it. And why do we wait 30 seconds?
Just in case it could, I don't know, still detonate, I guess.
That's right. In the class, you're going to learn there are 3 types of ammunition malfunctions. This is not a jam. Misfire, hang fire, and squib. A hang fire is a delayed reaction. Okay, so you wait 30 seconds to make sure it's not going to go off in case it's a delayed reaction. Now that's not something that is in the purview of this particular video, but that's something to be thinking about as well during the episode. So
But the hang fire means you should still be pointing at the target.
always, yes, because if it goes off again with our 1/4 inch safe direction rule, our objective is that if you have an accident at the range and that gun accidentally goes off, the bullet lands at the center of your target, nowhere else. Yeah. All right, so we're going to do a quick recap here, guys. All right. A couple of things that I want you to be practicing on does anybody have a click pen with you?
No.
Is that a click pen, Scott?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead and hold that clicker up to the camera and give me a couple clicks. All right, now hold it like it's a trigger. Yep, and hold it up so we can see it. So up and down, up and down. There you go. Now, give us some nice, slow, even clicks. This is what you need to do to practice 2 things: trigger pull and follow through. What you want to be doing while you're at work, while you're hanging out, while you're driving, I don't care what you're doing, while you're watching TV, you want to slowly squeeze that pen down. When you feel it click, you want to hold it right there. Then you want to unclick it and bring it back up, but do not let your finger off the top of it. Okay? That is going to give you good. Trigger control and follow through. Okay, because again, follow through is maintaining the same consistency before, during, and after your shot placement. So as a quick recap, we're going to go through some hands-on physical training, and that's our pre-qual. We don't do that until day 2 because so many people can't do what I just showed you that I don't start the class off on a bad note. Okay, because people struggle with the revolver, they struggle with the automatic, they're nervous, everybody's watching them, you know, it puts them on the spot. I don't do that until day 2. I'm supposed to do it on day 1. I just can't break your heart that way. Number 2, the qualification is going to be 20 rounds in either 2 series of 10 rounds apiece or 4 rounds of 5 rounds apiece, and that's going to be your actual qualification for that. And remember, I do not have any sort of leniency on that. So if you don't get it, I can't certify you that weekend. But when you are in my classroom and we're going over this stuff, you're going to get it. I can tell you right now, you're going to get it.